right, sometimes our bodies will tell us something's wrong by reacting in certain ways. A cold can be an indication that we're overdoing it, and a rash can mean you have a case of the Yeastie Beasties. Well, that's exactly what happened to our next guest, but he found relief by going to Dr. Parsons, who knew exactly what the culprit was. We are joined today by Nick Davis and Dr. Mikkel Parsons from the Naturopath Health Center. Welcome both of you to the show.
Thank you.
Dr. P is so funny. She wrote me an email. She says, I'm bringing a human on this week. Nick, tell us your story and what exactly happened. When did you first start noticing a problem, and what kind of problem did you have? What kind of problem did you have?
Sure. Well, you know, this whole event started several months ago, back in March of last year, and my father and brother were in a plane crash. And so there was a lot of stress, very stressful time for us and our family, and I had to take over my family's farm, which is 860 acres, quit the day job kind of a thing, and I didn't want to get sick, of course, through while my dad and brother were out in the hospital. So I wanted to make sure that I was going to be healthy, and I was feeling sick, so I decided to take some antibiotics, and I maybe took a little too much and compromised my digestive system and killed all the good microflora and good bacteria, and candida seemed to overtake my digestive system.
And so then you started noticing you had a rash, or how did you notice you had a problem?
I woke up one morning after attending a beer festival, and an Avila beer festival, and I had a rash on my elbow, and then it went to this elbow and then my knees, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was. I went to my doctors, my primary physician, dermatologist, Stanford. I was itching all over the place, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And
so you even went to Stanford because this rash would just not go away. You noticed that it all began after you took the antibiotics and then went to the beer festival.
Exactly.
And what was funny is that he said he was trying to prepare himself for the beer festival in order to not get sick, to drink himself some beer. Now, Dr. P, he went to you, found relief. Could it have been the beer, the yeast in the beer, or how did that happen?
I think it was a combination of a sequence of events. Stress, we talked about how it lowers our immune system. It weakens our resistance. He felt like he was already getting sick, so he was trying to be proactive in taking an antibiotic. Well, the antibiotics kill the good and the bad. So his good flora got wiped out. Then it allowed yeast an opportunity to kind of overgrow because yeast is not killed by an antibiotic. Then he feeds them really well with yeasty, high-sugar beer. Plus the stress, and I'm sure back then his diet wasn't the best, and that provided his body an opportunity to literally just crash.
Okay, so what did you do to help him see some sort of relief?
Well, one of the things we did initially was totally change his diet. We set him up on a program to not feed the yeast because I wasn't sure at that point what all was going on. And as we started to chip away, we discovered that he had yeast and parasites. He had the double whammy.
What were you eating? Were you eating a lot of sugar? Because I know Dr. P's been on the show and talking about one of the culprits of yeast is a lot of sugar in your diet.
Absolutely. I had really poor eating habits last year during that time. A lot of ice cream, extra Hershey's syrup, you name it. It was so good. I craved it. I needed it. It was good. Horrible diet. And like Dr. Parsons was saying, changed my diet dramatically. I've been doing great ever since.
No kidding. So how different is the diet now that you have, Nick? Are you eating all health food, or? It
is a really strict diet. It's an incredible diet. I consume no sugar whatsoever. I've been doing this for about, what, 6 or 7 months now. No booze, no sugar, no starches.
That's hard because he started his own wine business.
I did. So Twin Palms pomegranate wine. You can find it at Save Mart.
So that's been difficult because part of his business is to taste the wine, and that's going to feed his yeast.
But even if he tastes a little bit or has a
So he grows a little bit of babies? No. We don't want Yeastie Beastie babies.
Gotcha.
And he's been very strict and very diligent, which is why he's had such a remarkable recovery. He's on the extreme end of symptomatology. He was really bad. He could not work. He got to the point where he couldn't work. He couldn't sweat. He could not live a healthy lifestyle. He couldn't live.
So
anything flared him up.
You changed his diet. Did you also offer him some sort of supplements?
We also gave him supplements. So we gave him some things that would kill off the yeast and the parasites. And he's adopted this healthier lifestyle, and he's a little hesitant to jump back into those old ways because he knows the consequences of what may happen if he allows his health to get to that point again.
Because it wasn't just the rash that you were seeing, right? It was the fatigueness and everything else that comes with.
It was a complex of symptoms, many symptoms. The rash was unbearable. I had crazy insomnia at night. I'd itch for 3 hours at a time. I'd look at every minute pass on the clock. I'd scab, I'd bleed, you name it. It was the worst thing ever.
His hands were literally discolored. They were really, really dark. Looked like they'd been dipped in brown paint.
Oh my God. How long did it take to get back to normal?
Clear and healthy.
Wow, I can tell. I would, just by looking at you, I couldn't even imagine anything was wrong. But how long did it take to get you back to normal?
Several months.
Okay.
It took, I would say, I've been on the diet now for about 5-6 months. It's taken about that time. I feel really good now. During the time, the itching was so bad, I had to file my fingernails back every 2 days.
Wow.
I lost the fingerprints on my fingertips. It was just
So the sacrifice is definitely worth it.
Oh,
definitely worth
I love my new eating habits. Yes.
Good, good.
See,
Well,
and
you look
he's
great.
surviving. Doesn't he look good?
And most people don't get the Yeastie Beasties that bad, but some might if it gets to that point, and that's why if you have any of the symptoms, we've been listing them, excuse me, on your screen, then call Dr. P because she can really help you out.
Absolutely.
Yes, I should know this by heart already, 447-1404 is the number, 447-1404. And you can also visit naturalpathfresno.com.
And come in for a consult.
That's right, come in for a consult. Great idea. Thank you both for being here. Nick, thanks for sharing your story. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you're doing well.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week, Dr. P. All right, stick around. Central Valley Today. We'll be right back.